Good evening. My name is Kevin Lawrence,
And my name is Cody Zappin.
and this is our OLRM 201 presentation on how General George S. Patton would handle nepotism specifically at the shipyard. Nepotism, defined as the practice among those with power or influence of favoring relatives or friends, especially by giving them jobs. This is a very apparent issue in the shipyard and in experience the federal government as a whole. It is a rarely talked about topic, but is evident when blatantly unqualified people are promoted ahead of people who exceed the stated qualifications based on connections. Statements such as, it's not what you know, but who you know, and screw up, move up. And those are statements I hear all too often. It's almost like a running joke at the shipyard right now.
It's definitely a running joke. You see it plenty of times. Someone will screw up, and their buddies or friends that are higher up than them will get them promoted up and out or moved so that they don't get in trouble. So the leader we picked was General George S. Patton. He was a United States armor general during World War II. He helped in the Africa campaign and then the invasion of Sicily and Italy, and then later helped in the invasion of Greater Europe after D-Day. So he was known by a ferocious leader whose philosophy of leading from the front and ability to inspire his troops led to great respect from the soldiers under his command. Um, upper leadership did not necessarily agree with kind of how he ran things, but his troops absolutely loved him. His leadership style is best shown using a few of his quotes. Always do everything you ask of those in your command. So he's not averse to doing anything that he would tell his troops to do. Don't tell people how to do things, tell them what to do, and let them surprise you with their results. He was not big on micromanaging. He felt that if he told his troops what needed to be done, they would do it, and they may do it in a way that would surprise him or be more effective than the way he originally pictured. And a good plan, violently executed now, is better than a perfect plan executed next week. Every minute you waste is a minute that you could be spending doing something instead of sitting around waiting. So a good plan done now better than a perfect plan done next week. And one that I find is very funny because you see this a lot is
Hmm.
it, especially at the shipyard, is no good decision was ever made in a swivel chair. You see those made constantly at the shipyard. And then one that I really like is you're never beaten until you admit it. And that kind of shows you what kind of leadership style he has. He's very hard charging, straight, blunt to the point, let lead from the front, no nonsense kind of leader.
Yeah, I think it's good to address that he's not really a micromanager when he says don't tell people how to do things, tell them what to do. But that only works if you have qualified people,
And
people you can,
people that you can
yeah,
trust.
people you can trust, people that are loyal to you and actually know what they're doing in order for that to work. But it's still a good quote, and it rings true today.
Correct.
Some of Patton's principles for command and management, like Cody said, say what you mean and mean what you say. If I tell you, you know, I want you, or I'm going to go do this for you. Let's say you ask me for leave off or something, or you need to leave early. If I say I'm going to do it, I better do it. Otherwise, what kind of leader am I? Always be alert to the source of trouble. I think we, as a whole, especially in the shipyard, we're not alert. A lot of us get complacent. A lot of us have gotten into this, I don't know, complacent attitude at the shipyard, and you can see a lot of trouble brewing because of that. This one right here, select leaders for accomplishment and not for affection. I mean, that's pretty much the polar opposite of what nepotism is. Select them for their performance and not because they're, let's say, a good person. They're funny or um, they're funny. They're good to be around. Select them for.
I've
Go ahead.
I've always said that I would much rather work with someone who excelled at their job but was not an enjoyable person to be around than
Sure.
someone that was a nice guy but absolutely sucked at their job. I would much rather work with the guy that was good at his job.
Excuse me. Yeah, absolutely. I would much rather learn from a uh, a not so nice senior mechanic, because that's going to help me in the long run, right? Um,
Right.
yeah, I can be. I can tolerate the attitude, let's say. But yeah, if I'm with a guy that's real nice, real cool, funny, ha ha ha, hang out with him outside of work maybe, but if he's not really teaching me inside of work, what's really the point? That's just the whole point of being here is to get better at what I do and to progress every day. So our solution um, would be a complete restructuring of any of the areas where nepotism is involved, and usually that kind of starts near the top, kind of the I don't know, I guess second level manager positions, possibly maybe first level. General Patton, we feel like he would waste no time in removing and replacing people based on their performance. He would have a zero tolerance for any sort of nonsense, horseplay, um, or just poor performance in general. But I also think he would, as a great leader, he would try to get those people help so they could be better performers overall.
Be
People,
that be, be
yep,
that putting them somewhere that they were able to thrive. Maybe the position they were in was something they
hmm
weren't. Their skills and abilities weren't necessarily what they were looking for. Be it putting them somewhere they else that they would thrive, or finding something else for them to do.
yeah, and I
Maybe
know
not such a critical position.
I know we try and do that at the shipyard every now and then, but I don't. I mean, I guess this is outside looking in, but I don't really see it happen as much as it probably should. And I don't know if that's based on vacancy positions or whatnot. Um,
Usually, the only reason you see it at the shipyard is injuries. You
yeah,
don't
absolutely.
usually see it for poor performance.
Yeah,
And I think that the shipyard could benefit if they adapted that for poor performance as well.
absolutely. Uh, you.
One downside to this
hmm
would be that during the restructuring and for a time afterwards, the shipyard be in a great amount of turmoil.
Yep.
Um, if you're replacing first line managers, second line managers, upper management, when you're replacing those kinds of people, every time you swap someone out, there's gonna be a period of time where they're trying to settle in. Everyone's trying to get a feel of the new position, trying to figure out what their job is if they were not super comfortable in being put in that position. And but in the long term, I think that the benefits would far outweigh the negatives, as you would have the most qualified people in the best position suited for them, and that the poor performers would be unable to continue to be poor performers at any level. That is from mechanics all the way on up to superintendents and beyond.
Yeah, I 100% agree that, yeah, there's going to be a lot of issues, but like I said, long term is going to be more beneficial.
Yeah.
So, in conclusion, nepotism, as we just discussed, has the potential to cause a cascade of problems in the workplace. Hiring or promoting individuals that are not qualified overall can weaken the organization as a whole. Screw up, move up is a phrase that is based on observing unqualified personnel being promoted over someone that is much more qualified. This can create a toxic environment, which I've seen more times than I want to, and reduce overall employee morale and productivity.
Patton's leadership style would have none of this, and he would correct it with an iron fist. His leadership style, while unlocked by his superiors, led to adoration from his troops, and I think that he would do a number on the shipyard, but in the long run, it would be for the better.
Absolutely agree. So that's all we have on our presentation in how General Patton would deal with nepotism at the shipyard. Thank you.
Thank you.